welcome back to the Alternative Highs podcast. I'm Dustin Gahn. This is the #1 podcast in Southwestern Ontario. Today, I am joined by an old friend from many moon ago, Miss Emily Ramsden. Emily, you have a fun backstory.
I've got quite a backstory. Yeah, so
What?
Where do you want me to start?
I was going to say, well, you've got, like, I'll put kind of a timeline, because I don't know your timeline. I'm just going from socials.
Okay.
So, lifestyle of what, younger teenage to 20-year-olds do.
Yep.
Then, was bodybuilding in your 20s?
That was actually when I was 18.
Really?
Yeah.
You started that young?
Yeah, I did.
Because I can remember, obviously not very well timed agenda, so you started, because I'm very fascinated with that world.
So I competed in gymnastics from, I don't know, probably as soon as you can compete until 17, started coaching, and then met what is my ex-husband, and he brought me to the bodybuilding world. So I started working out. He was doing shows, convinced me to do a show. I was 18. I placed almost dead last out of I don't even know how many, and then competed a few years later, placed a good amount better, stopped competing for about 3 years, started competing again, started winning world championships, stopped competing when I was 31 after I won my 4th world championship. So yeah, I'd say from 18 to 31. Yeah, I know, not normal, typical at 17 and 18 year olds do.
Between the 18, where you placed almost dead last, to going to world champion, what was that pivot?
Oh, humbling pivot of the very first time you think you compete that you're going to do well, and you're like, that's great. It's broadcasted live on what is now like TSN or ESPN, I can't remember, and it was the Fitness Canada pageant. And I remember seeing like my placing on there, and I was like, oh, well. And then I was like, you can only go better from here. And then competed again, and then I was like, it's time to take some time off. At that time, we focused on all of his competing. And then he stopped competing, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try this again. Won a show, completely surprised, went into a different organization. I honestly, when they called my name for winning, I was like, whoa, this is cool, okay. And then from there, I grew with that organization, and I won that world championship, became the first pro, and then placed second, first, second, and then first. So it's such a, when you grow with a sport, you're growing with yourself, and that sport wasn't necessarily just the sport of it. There was the part of the competing side, and then there's the part of it building you side. So the exercise part kind of grew with me over time with the competing.
What was the growing with you part like? Because that's like kind of a,
it's
that's
still
a real,
there. I'm
I was
still
gonna say,
growing with
you're
like,
growing
I'm
at that time,
still,
like it's a pivotal time.
It is. A lot of people were going out and partying and doing that kind of stuff, and mind you, I still did that in my 20s, most definitely. But it was that balance of having something to be so focused on it with as well. Like 6 months of the year, you're completely hyper-focused on something that's a goal that nobody has. It's outside of the goal of what normal people do. People exercise for aesthetics. People exercise for social. People exercise just because they like to exercise. People go into the gym, don't even exercise, but are in there because they just enjoy that environment. So I would say, like, growing with that, how it made us or it made me, I can say, is that it gave me a really good versatility of a really good dedicated part of my life with a really immature part of my life. And now I'm out of the immature part of the life. I'm in the discipline, that's the right word, discipline part of life.
I was gonna say, like,
but now it's different. So I'd say after like 31, after I stopped competing, 35-ish, and then after having a kid, it just becomes a whole different ballpark. So this whole growing with me is like, it's just literally grown with me, and it's still growing with me. It's a part of me.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I want to do a show, 100%.
I was gonna say, like it doesn't ever, like I belong to a lot of fitness sites, like forums on Facebook, just because, over time I've grown, and what I follow now is much different. And there is no age gap on when you can train till, or when you can go into bodybuilding? What does that look like now that you haven't competed since 31? You're a mom now. You've got your own business. I don't know. Did you have it when you were doing?
This is my own business. Like, this is 100% me.
Yeah, and which we should talk about that.
No,
It's pretty cool. Like, I'm gonna side venture on. It's the training room.
Yep.
What all is involved with the training room for you?
Okay, so that is my first independently owned business by myself. Happened in 2023. So I think I turned 40. Things go in decades with me, so I kind of like timeline things in decades of where they show up. As an importance. So that the training room, when I opened that up after COVID, it is a personal training, one-on-one studio, and I've started to implement group fitness, like group lifts is what I call them. So I teach fitness, kickboxing. I've done that for over a decade now as well. And now I'm starting to put together programming that is based on different levels of fitness. And because, as I said, I've grown with it. I've been in the 20s through fitness. The body requires different things in your 20s and your 30s. You can pretty much do anything in your 20s and your 30s. After you hit 35, your hormones start to change. Your body requires different type of training. Okay? Post-pregnancy, pre-pregnancy, through pregnancy, that as well. And then once you start getting like perimenopausal, menopausal, your body also needs to, requires different forms of training. So now what I'm wanting to do is put together programs for multiple different, I'll call it like hormone and age populations for the trainings that they should be doing. Because I just feel that there's not a lot out there right now of those base programs for people to know how to train when you get into those. A lot of people will think that they should be doing one form of training when really it's contradicting to what their body is actually needing at this point of their life. So this is where my future is going with the training room, is providing programs for people in building a community of it too. Like having friends that exercise and having like a good positive community, right? It means a lot, and it's always meant a lot to me because exercise has been such a dynamic and very important part of my life that I feel we all need it. And a lot of people after COVID went through different things. We were isolated. A lot of people come to the city, they're new, looking to just find their spot and having like a good community. So good community with the right things.
It's you. I think it was this morning you made a post about the how important fitness is, and I sat there. I was like, I tried to tell that to everybody. Like, I've been through a few things, and I right now am managing through exercise. Like, I'm keeping my mental on check.
Yes.
And it's so when you posted that this morning, I was like, man, that is the truest form. How hard is that for you, as the person who is you're fit as a fiddle. You look great. Nobody can question you, but yet, how hard is it to train people to help them help themselves?
They're saying, so if somebody's going to help themselves, they're going to help themselves. The majority of people will come to me because they're not going to do it on their own. And they've realized it, and that's great because I have a trainer. I really don't do anything on my own anymore unless it's like cardio-based stuff. I can get up in the morning and I can just go right to it just to keep some form of routine for myself. But I love training people. I've loved training people since I've started to train people. I have people that want to come in to work out. They enjoy coming out. I get friendships with them, and they like being there. Now, they want to take their fitness to the next level. Different story.
Yep.
They got to cut the crap, basically, and put in the work on their own, right? But if they're there to be like, hey, I'm looking for this for the long run, and they show up 2 times a week, plus a class or a group lift, or however they show up, that's awesome, because those are the ones that empower me. My clients are working out more than me right now.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm in there and I'm lifting things and moving. It's different. My body requires me to lift weights because I get sore now if I don't lift weights independently, other than lifting weights for other people. So now I realize the physical aspect of it, of I need to stay fit because I have a profession that requires me to stay fit, so I can help other people stay fit. Like, it's a domino effect.
I was reading another one of your posts, funny enough. I enjoy having like-minded people on my Facebook. It's so nice when I can see people post. Like, I like your stuff. So you posted, and even though you are a coach, very qualified, very knowledgeable, you have your own studio, you're killing it, you still employ your own coach for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'll have somebody coach me through another show as well. So I coached myself and like co-coached with previous partners with competitions. And this time I'm like, okay, I've got way too many things on my plate. I don't want to do the same thing I did before. I want to hire somebody else to take away everything, all the guesswork. Let them be in charge of my nutrition. Let them be in charge of my training. I contacted him a year ago because I wanted to do a show this year, like this past year. It just didn't happen. I'm not trying to force something.
No,
I have a profession that I'm building. I have a child. I have a relationship. I have a family. I have those things. They always come first. But I would really like to get into a cycle of where it's like, okay, things are in a time position where I make the timeline to do it. I just decide like, okay, this is going to be it. I hummed and hawed. Do I go back to the same organization? Do I try something new? Because it's really scary going, okay, I've come from like winning a 4-time like big championship, and then if I go on another show, am I ready to experience the humbleness if I lose? That's hard. I don't like losing, and I don't know a lot of people that have been competitive that have won that really enjoy losing. You know, it's that humbling feeling and going, I want to do this because it's something I want to do, but I also know I want to do it and I want to win, and I want to make sure I put that effort into knowing I'm going to compete in something that I'm going to have a fair shot of doing well. And I mean that for myself. I mean, I'm not going to set myself in a timeline where I'm like, okay, this is probably not possible, but I'm going to do it anyways. No point in that. I want to make sure that the timeline I set, the show I set is realistic, that I can put that full effort in, because it requires a lot of discipline. And
what's it take from the moment you decide this is a show? What's the prep time?
It all depends.
Because you obviously stay fit.
I stay fit, but I found a lot of things once I've stopped continually strength training. Like COVID happened. I did strength training through there. I ran a lot with my dog. But I haven't been as dedicated to weight training as I need to be, which means I've lost shape and I've lost muscle, which I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that because I wasn't competing. But now if I go back into competing, I have to regain all that muscle. So that's probably going to be a lot longer of a timeline, just because gaining muscle after 40, gaining muscle after 35, gaining natural muscle after 40, gaining natural muscle after 35 is a lot harder. I gained muscle very easily when I was younger, and I was very thankful to do that. And now I just don't know. It's been so long since I've trained. I'm like, how long is it going to take me? Like my coach is like, you'll be fine. It's not going to take you that long. So I'm going to go with like a 4-month timeline. And if it takes longer, because, you know, who knows by the starting time of it, if they're going to go, these are what the girls you're going to compete against look like. Yeah. This is what is going to be required of you. Here's I don't want anybody to sugarcoat things. I want them to be real. I've never hired anybody to be fake to me. I want them to be like, hey, you're not ready. Hey, you are ready. Hey, stop getting in your own head, or you better get in and start doing cardio, because you're not going to do as well as you think. I do very well with real feedback.
Yeah. So in that 4-month timeline, what is and I wasn't even expecting to know that. What's a day of training look like for you? Are there weeks? Are they built around weeks?
Yeah, they're built around all weeks.
Because it's just a fascinating... training camps, to me, everybody should have to try one. Like, I've watched people's training camps for boxing, for this. I'm like, holy shit, I've never...
There are a lot between your training, your cardio, your meal prep, your sleep, your posing. It's your life. It is honestly your life. And now I'm like, okay, I have a life, plus I'm going to introduce a different life. So we'll see how it goes. I'm confident that it can be done and done right. I've trained women through this before, where they've had kids, young kids, families, they've got their own professions. It's not easy. But I want to experience it because I haven't done that yet. So I feel like that's where I'm like, okay,
what do you mean you want to try? Like at post-mom? Post-31?
Yeah, post-mom. Post-31, I'm the only women that have ever really beaten me were ladies that were over 40. So I'm like, okay, it's possible. I got in the back of my mind being like, okay, just because I'm older doesn't mean it's not possible. But
would you
I
try
have
the
to be
same
able.
thing again? Or I don't understand how they go. Like when you're world champion, what category is that?
So it's an open class of figure. So I could go into that same group, like that same organization again. I just look at the cost factor that goes into that one, and I was like, $10,000 just for an outfit. So I'll explain. Shows are not cheap. Training for shows are not cheap. Exercising is cheap. Food, no. Contest prep, no. Almost everything other than the exercise part of it is very expensive. And when you are in a higher class, like an open class of pro figure, you're expected that you are going to look top notch. So the WBFF where I competed before has like elaborated a lot of their things since I competed. Now the girls are wearing things that are probably outfits. There's 2 outfits and they're probably the cost about $10,000. Entry fee is a couple $1,000. Like shows, you look and I'm like, okay, do I want to invest $30,000? And I need to know that this $30,000 that I'm going to invest into this is going to be post accumulated in revenue that I'm going to make with either online training, different portals, YouTube. So that's where I really want to venture into it afterwards. It's not just about the winning, it's about building my status back up, to have an online content to be able to make money out of that. It's business now. Now I want business. Before it was I wanted titles. Now I'm like, okay, show me the business side of this that I was too young to explore when I was younger. I was just too young and not mentally in the right spot to be wanting to do business. So now I'm in.
When there's such a much different way of like social media has catapulted that business.
Yes,
like,
it has. It 100%
and
has.
being already having the credibility.
Yeah.
You know, if you started something like you said YouTube, if you had that follow you around as like a kind of like a blog style, man, that would be I'm so fascinated with training camps. Like it is right down to like your nutrition is wild. Like I like to think I'm a pretty disciplined person until that food gets in front of me.
Yeah, well that's and that's the thing, you have to be disciplined to go, all right, is this worth it right now for what I want, right? And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, maybe my youth was good for me because there are times where I'm like, I'm going to eat this, and one time is not going to kill you, but you can really derail yourself if your one time becomes every day one time. Not saying that in a form of balance, because competing is not a balanced lifestyle. People should know that right now. If you're going to compete, don't expect to have balance. If you're going to compete to win, it is not a balanced lifestyle. It's not. It's all about unbalance. And then you pick it up afterwards and you become balanced after your competition. But until then, there's no balanced way for you to go from here to here and be a winner. At least not that I've experienced. Somebody out there in the world is going to say that's not true, and that's fine. My point of view, my opinion on that is balance is not. You have one specific goal, that is your focus. Your focus is not, today I'm going to just skip my thing today and go off track so I can do this because it doesn't matter because I'm balanced and I'm going to win. No, my brain is not wired that way.
And you've seen both sides of it, and I don't want to start any beefs or anything. Is it different on the male side to the female side for the...
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Is it... Because there's always
I blocked out a good portion of my life, probably. Like, I feel like certain things when I look back to competing, and like there's the nostalgia part, and then there's a lot of trauma during that too. So just I feel like I block out a lot of the parts of like the male bodybuilding part of it to think about what that's like, and kind of just hyper focus that onto my own like competing part of it. But do I feel like males genetically have more potential to be bigger, stronger, better? If you're looking in terms of physique wise and balance, and I feel like both men and women have both equally availabilities for their bodies to become like genetic goddess or genetic
I was gonna say I've really looked back at your socials like wildly.
I look back and like, who's that?
But you still, it's 10 years later and you still look amazing. So like, there's some fitness is such an important aspect that I try to preach it on every single person I know. I'm probably that annoying, door-to-door Bible person, but awful way to explain it, but
have you worked out today? You should consider working.
I do really try to push it. It's surprising how I lost 100 pounds. It's people, my friends have watched me in real time. Come
Yeah.
join me.
Yeah, and you have quite a story for yourself rebuilding it, right? Like, what has fitness done for you? I'm not trying to be the interviewer here, but like, think
It
about
changed
it.
my life.
Yeah.
It was the greatest thing that I ever reintroduced. Because
Awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't anything new to me. I played hockey in my youth, but then I became an addict and an alcoholic and threw all those fun things into the mix, and it that can really derail you as well.
100%. Alcohol is the number one thing to strip muscle away.
Yeah.
Besides not eating and not sleeping. And
That was the one thing actually. With bodybuilding, you really need the rest.
Yes.
How hard is that to find that rest when you're so hyper focused, like you just said? When I get into focus mode, I can't sleep. That's my worst thing about me is my sleeping pattern.
I'm very fortunate that I can shut down. Like, I have ADHD. That's probably where my energy comes from, right? But when you're hyper focused, that's a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can knock out a lot of tasks if you have a really good task goal, like checklist to go by. And by the end of the day, I exhaust myself, so I sleep. Mind you, now I sleep very well because I basically go to bed with my 3-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's bedtime. He does not go to bed until 9, and I'm like, tick-tock, I require some sleep. So I'm like, I'm going to bed too. So now my sleep is great.
Yeah.
But before, I've always had no problem going to sleep, which is awesome.
Lucky. How would you say, and I don't, it's none of my business, but you just mentioned your ADD.
Yeah.
How do you find that navigates for you? I don't know if there's meds or if there's, if you use all you.
Yeah.
Through fitness.
Yeah, so it's funny because people are like, you have so much energy. Like, if you come into my studio, I'm going to either be singing or dancing or singing and dancing at any given time because my body just requires, it just requires movement. It requires me to, it feeds off of it, right? So me sitting behind a desk having a computer job would not be good. I wouldn't be able to focus, right? So I can remember almost every lyric to songs, and people are like, how do you know? And I'm like, my body just knows. Like, I say, it's just my Rain Man of singing. I just retain songs very, very well, and it helps my body release energy through the day. And I have a client that's every half hour or every hour or a class, so I'm constantly doing new things. So I'm feeding what my body needs in order for it to not be like, hey, I need meds. I didn't even know until I had one of my clients a few years ago, Heather, she's so funny. She's a family physician. If you didn't realize that you have ADHD, right? And I was like, wait, what? And she's like,
What a way to find out.
Yeah, if you haven't been diagnosed, you're getting diagnosed right now. I'm like, no, wait. She goes, yeah. She goes, you just channel it really well through exercise. And I was like, oh, thank God.
I was going to say,
thank God, man.
I've really tried to explain to people because I too, ADD, severe PTSD, depression, anxiety, and it is literally, everything is managed through my fitness. If when they took me off of my bike for the summer, I'm still not allowed to bike right now. That was one of the most troubling times, so that's where I spend hours a day, mindlessly.
Yes.
I pay attention to the road, but that's just one thing. It's my free time.
You don't have anybody that's I used to run with my dog, and it was I hate running, by the way. I hate it. But I would run with her, and music plugged in, run, and every thought is just gone.
Yeah,
it's clarity. Exercise brings clarity. Now I get up in the morning, minus the last few weeks, I roll out of bed, I go to my studio, I do cardio, and it's the same thing. It's just channeling my mind, giving me clarity, and I'm like, okay, I can people today. I can people good today.
That's a tough one. What's the? We know what you want to do. Future with the bodybuilding. What's future for business? You want to expand or?
Well, I'm not too sure about how I want to go about that.
Maintain.
Maintain is a really good thing with the studio. I've invested a lot of personal effort and a lot of my originality into the studio over the last few years that I want to be keeping this location. But as mentioned, I want to go online. I want to be able to travel and exercise. I want to bring my family on vacations that are paid for by my work, right? I feel like I don't live with regrets. I just feel like there's one part of me that I really wish I would have maximized before when I was competing, and that's when I was doing it. That was 10 years ago. The social part of it was not. It was coming. It was coming, and I was doing YouTube stuff, and I had a lot of followers, and I had all the whatever, but I did nothing out of it, and I was like, oh. If I would have known now, or would have been in. Here's the would have, could have, should have. So why aren't you? So that's why I want to. I want to be able to get into online stuff. I want to maximize off of that. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to go, here's my business right now, and here's where I can take my business. Yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to get online. I want to get on board. I want to find out what it is today. Like, thanks for this opportunity, because I want to see how setups are. I want to see what it is.
There's some
I'm getting time to like calm
myself
down to like in front of cameras. So
I think they'll do great with it. It's something that I as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, that's. And I got a few people I'd love to introduce you to that would, you know, finding content creators or anybody in this town a little bit. We're not as progressive as most, but it is very difficult. I've managed to meet a few of the people, and it is super cool when you can have, because it's really quite hard. It seems simple to have that phone set up or to have that, like, but like then there's the little intricate parts, like the editing, the little things that you just. I think you'll do amazing, because it's just a cool thing to follow, and fitness is such a boomer. Would you say, and owning a business is your perfect person for this question, would you say in the last decade fitness has kind of like come to light like no other time in history before? Because I've never noticed it. The gym's always packed with kids now. It's packed with adults. Everybody's really like taking their health seriously. Was that post-COVID? Was that just the time that we're in? Or is it people are just more focused on themselves?
Probably a combination of a lot of things. Maybe people are more focused. The internet has made it really good. I find a lot of young people, and mind you, still like older people like myself, and older people and myself, we like the aesthetics part of it, to look good. And when you're, I think I was one of the only girls, mind you, not the only girl, but I feel like there may have been a handful of girls my age when I was young that worked out. I can tell you 17 when I went to the gym at the Wheels with my brother or my cousin Mason, I was like maybe 16, 17. Definitely the only one by like 20 years. Okay, slouch socks, skirts, like I'm talking about like that kind of era. Like, and now I look, and now mind you, I don't go to a gym because I basically I do my own thing. But I've been in a gym my whole life, and I see the amount of people, and even these young girls like that are 24 years old that are creating content. I'm like, good for you, because this is amazing. Inspire young people to do this. This is not just now. This is for life. And mind you, these people that are in their 20s, whether they want to look good, however they want to do business, you'll phase into another part of your life, and you may start having a family, and then it's a wild time right there, having kids, and the pre and the post and everything. And then the best part is that you always go back to it. Like, if you fell in love with it before, you can have a little dip, and you'll go right back to it, and it's still just as like fulfilling for you, just in completely different ways. So I think it's great. The people that are doing it young, awesome. Like go people.
It's so much fun to watch. I got a gym membership when I got in my accident. They supplied me with one. I've been there for 9 years now, and I've watched that place really grow with the time. Like it's the same place, but I've watched it. Like the memberships just go skyrocket, and it's cool. And it is one of the coolest things. Like for me, I got a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old. So my next step to life is maybe a grandparent. And I really want to be a cool grandparent. I want to be able to do things. I mean, I got that crip walk about me, but we aren't going to be running around on my shoulders or anything, but I really want to be able to.
Never say never.
For the safety of the child, I'm going to leave that.
You're like, you're you're a baby, you can sit on the shoulder. Don't say you never got on my shoulder. Just carry it like a sack of potatoes.
It's something that I just always try to, and it's an obsession. I'm an addict, and I got a blown out knee right now that needs to be rested, and like I've iced cake to it, but I'm still at the gym doing upper body exercises. I know that it's not the greatest and it needs to rest, but that side of me just can't shut it down and let it go.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people, like, if they stop doing the gym, they get in their head, right? Like, I haven't worked out in a week and a half, and as I'm saying, my body is sore from not working out. So you're gonna get the soreness from not working out, or the soreness from working out. I prefer the soreness from working out. And when you're not at the gym, you're either going to get, like, I get anxiety. Now that I'm a mom, now it's even worse, right? So, like, I get the anxiety and ADHD, the depression part of it. Luckily, thankfully, I don't. But I definitely get the anxiety part of it. And when I'm not exercising, I find more anxiety, and I'm like, I'm like, it's just I have all this energy that needs to be released, and I need to be able to do it in a good, direct way. So if I'm not releasing energy and my brain's not getting what it needs, it becomes not a good time. Like, I feel I have a harder time emotionally regulating when I'm not exercising. Right now, I'm realizing, okay, this is the time of the year right now. I'm like, okay, just be kind to yourself. This is a phase right now where it's right before Christmas. People are doing, like, this is just a hard time for a lot of people. So I'm like, do what I can when I can. Don't put any hard expectations on myself to be like, I need to go to the gym every day.
It's like the
Guess
inner
what? The
coaching.
gym is going to be there for me when I can. Because if I start to prioritize that over other things that need priority, then I'm failing on a different aspect, and I don't want to fail on the mom and business aspect. So I'm like, okay, I know that I need this. I will pick this up in a few more days when things become available. So I'm just telling myself, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. It's just, this timing is not right now, and I need to be aware of it, be present of it, make myself realize it's okay, and pick it up when I can.
That's probably the most relatable thing that anybody's going to hear today, because it's everybody's got that life is life in us. It'd be wild now. It'd be wild
life is life, and or if people are like, I can't make it today, I'm like, totally understand. Like, do your thing. People are stressed out. People have lots on their plate. However, exercise is great for being, like, for managing stress. But again, don't be unrealistic with yourself. Because then you're just going to get upset at yourself. You're going to fail at things, which then makes you feel down about yourself, and it's going to go reverse. So instead, all right, I got this, but I don't got this for another few weeks. Like, I'll get there.
I could appreciate that. This has been really fun.
Yeah.
This was really great. I appreciate you coming. I'm excited for your next steps, your next chapter, your 2025 possibly, 2026.
Yeah, I'm hoping 2025. Like, I'm ready. I want to start rocking this. Like I said to you, I'm like, okay, I don't have this right now, but I will have it. And my mindset is, I'm like, as soon as, like, those days come into January 1, January 2, January 3, like, my mindset is, it's time. Right? I'm letting myself be kind to myself right now, and then it's time. I want to be able to do it, because if I don't act on it this year, when am I going to act on it? Right? I've got,
If not now,
if not now, then when? Right? So would have, could have, should have. Why aren't you? No. Would have, could have, didn't. Now I'm going to.
Well, would you return after the show?
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
I'm so, like, I really want you to, like, be so bold with your socials when you're doing this, because I'm really fascinated to watch that, and I think you're the perfect person to explain it, because just that conversation was so easy, so nice. I can only imagine how great you'll be in front of your own camera. And so,
well, I will take you up on your offer with knowing people and how to set things up, and any help that you can. I'd love that, because that's
I've met some really great people, and there's a lady that I'm excited to introduce you to, that she's TikTok.
Awesome.
And it's all
I'm not even TikToking. I don't even have TikTok.
I don't know TikTok. I don't know how to make the talk.
There we go.
I'm on the Book of the Fist.
Yeah.
I'm learning the Instagram through my
channel. Out there.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.